The restaurant was dim and warm, the kind of place where people spoke in low voices and candles did most of the work. I was halfway through my pasta when I saw her. Gloria Sanders, my ex-girlfriend's mother. She was sitting alone at a corner table, staring at the door like she was waiting for someone who mattered a lot. Her silver hair caught the candlelight, soft and bright. Her black dress fit her perfectly. She looked like she belonged in some magazine ad for Grace in Class, but she also looked lonely. Really lonely. My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I froze with my fork in my hand and just watched her. She checked her phone. She looked at the door again. She took a small sip of wine and tried to smile to herself like she was pretending everything was okay. It hit me all at once that she had been stood up. Any normal person would have looked away, paid the bill, walked out and pretended they had never seen anything. Instead, I pushed my chair back. My legs moved before my brain could catch up. I walked across the room, every step loud in my own ears. When I reached her table, I cleared my throat. "Gloria," I said, trying to sound calm, "would you mind if I joined you? You look like you could use some company." The shock on her face was clear, then it softened into something else, relief, maybe even a little bit of happiness. She nodded and motioned to the empty chair in front of her. I sat down across from my ex-girlfriend's mother, my heart beating like crazy. What we did after that, what started that night, was something no one in our lives would ever have believed. Something most people would call unthinkable. But before I tell you how that night ended, tell me in the comments where you are watching from. And hype this video. Because what happened between Gloria and me changed everything. Let me take you back to where it all started 6 months earlier. My name is Jerry Patel. I am 29 years old, and I work as a graphic designer at a small marketing firm in downtown Portland. My life was safe. Simple. Boring, if I am being honest. I woke up, made coffee, went to work, sat at my desk, moved logos and fonts around, tried not to lose my mind. After work, I went to the gym, went home, heated up frozen food, watched Netflix alone, went to bed. Then I did it all again the next day. On paper, it was fine. I paid my bills. I was healthy. I was stable. Inside, I felt like I was slowly going numb. 8 months before that night in the restaurant, my girlfriend Brenda broke up with me. We had dated for 2 years. I thought we were serious. I thought we were building a future. Brenda was 26, full of energy, always talking, always in motion. She worked in real estate and loved the chase, the deals, the constant rush. People noticed her when she walked into a room. She was fun, loud, bright. She also got bored fast. The night she ended things, she sat across from me at my tiny kitchen table and sighed like I was a problem she had to solve. "Jerry," she said, "you're a great guy. You really are. But you're too stable, too predictable. I need excitement. I need someone who can keep up with me." Quote. 2 weeks later, she was dating a guy who owned 3 nightclubs and drove a Maserati. That hurt. It did not only hurt because I loved her. It hurt because her words stuck in my head like thorns. Too stable. Too predictable. Was that really me? Was I just the safe option? The backup plan? The guy women outgrew once they wanted something more? For months after the breakup, I picked myself apart in my head. I went on dating apps. I went on a few dates that felt like job interviews. I tried rock climbing because someone online said I needed more adventure. None of it felt like me. None of it filled the quiet ache inside my chest. During the 2 years I dated Brenda, I got to know her family pretty well. Her dad, Ronald, was loud and big and always had a story to tell. He owned a successful construction company and acted like every room was his stage. People either loved him or got tired of him fast. Her mother, though. Gloria was different. She was 52, silver hair and a neat bob. Green eyes that seemed to see right through you. She was beautiful, but not in a flashy way. There was this calm about her, this quiet strength. When she walked into a room, she did not demand attention. She just had it. She was smart, She listened more than she talked. She had this dry sense of humor that would slip out at the perfect moment and make me choke on my drink. Most family dinners at the Sanders house went the same way. Ronald told big stories. Brenda talked about her latest listings and deals. There was always noise, always movement. Somehow, by the end of the night, I always ended up talking with Gloria. We talked about books, old movies, art, life, dumb little questions that turned into deep talks. She asked simple questions that made me think hard about my answers. I felt weirdly seen when I talked to her. Not as Brenda's boyfriend, but as Jerry. One night, about 6 months into my relationship with Brenda, I remember standing in the kitchen with Gloria while she cut a homemade apple pie. Brenda and Ronald were in the living room yelling at the TV, arguing about some news story. Gloria shook her head and smiled while she sliced the pie. "Those two never agree on anything," she said. "They are too much alike, both of them always sure they're right." I laughed and asked, "Do you ever get tired of being the peacekeeper?" She stopped cutting for a moment and looked up at me. Her green eyes were soft and tired and deep in a way I still cannot fully explain. "Sometimes," she said quietly, "I think about what it would be like to disappear for a while. Not forever, just long enough to remember who I am when I'm not taking care of everyone else." Something in my chest tightened when she said that. I wanted to tell her I saw her, that she was more than a wife, more than a mom, more than the person keeping everyone else from falling apart. But she was my girlfriend's mother. So I just nodded and made some light comment, and we moved on. Still, that moment stayed with me. The way her voice dipped, the way her guard dropped for just a second. Even after Brenda and I broke up, I kept thinking about Gloria sometimes. I would be cooking for one in my small apartment, and suddenly remember her standing in that kitchen cutting pie and talking about disappearing. I wondered if she ever got that break. I wondered if anyone ever asked her how she was doing. Really doing. Months passed. Work, gym, Netflix, repeat. I tried to move on from Brenda. Some days, I thought I was doing well. Other days, the words, too stable, too predictable, came back and dug into my ribs again. I had no idea that the next time I saw Gloria, she would be sitting alone at a table in a small Italian restaurant. I had no idea that one simple choice, one simple walk across a room, would change both our lives forever. When I sat down at Gloria's table, I felt like every eye in the restaurant was on us. My hands were sweating. My tongue felt thick in my mouth. She stared at me for a second, like she could not believe I was real. "Jerry," she said softly, "what are you doing here?" I tried to play it cool. "I could ask you the same thing," I said, "but it looks like you could use some company." Quote. For a moment, there was this heavy pause. Then she let out a breath and gave a small, tired smile. "You are not wrong," she said. "Please, sit." I had already sat down, but her words made it feel like I belonged there. The awkwardness sat between us for a few seconds like a third person at the table. I glanced at her half-full wine glass. "Rough night?" I asked. She laughed, but there was no joy in it. "You could say that. I was supposed to meet someone." "A blind date my sister set up." She lifted her phone and put it back down. "I guess he found something better to do." Something hot and sharp moved through my chest at the idea of anyone standing her up. "His loss," I said before I could stop myself. My face burned. I sounded way too eager. But Gloria's eyes softened, and she smiled again, this time for real. "You always were a charmer, Jerry. I can see why Brenda was so smitten with you." The mention of Brenda hung in the air like a warning. For a second, I thought about getting up and walking away. This whole thing was strange. Wrong, even. But then Gloria asked, "How are you, really?" And I stayed. We started talking. At first, it was safe topics. Work, weather, how fast the year was going. Then it went deeper, the way it always did with her. She asked about my job, and I told her about the demanding client who wanted to change everything every week. I told her about trying dating apps and feeling like I was shopping for people. I told her how Brenda's words still echoed in my head. "Too stable. Too predictable," I said, staring at my water glass. "Sometimes I think that is all I am. Background, safe, forgettable." Gloria leaned forward, Her eyes locked on mine. "Jerry, you are not boring," she said with a steady firmness that caught me off guard. "You are thoughtful. There is a big difference. In a world where everyone is trying to be loud, being thoughtful is rare." Something warm spread through my chest. I did not realize how badly I needed to hear that until she said it. We talked about books. She loved old classics. I liked modern novels with messy characters. We both loved black and white movies. We both hated loud bars. We both secretly preferred nights in to big parties. She told me she had always wanted to take a pottery class but never had the time. I told her I had started writing a novel in my spare time, but I was too scared to show it to anyone. Her eyes lit up. "You are writing a book and you are worried about being boring?" she said. "Jerry, you are full of surprises." The more we talked, the less the age gap felt real. It was just two people sharing stories under soft light, while the rest of the restaurant faded into the background. We did not notice how late it was until the server came up and cleared his throat politely. "I am so sorry," Gloria said, looking at her watch. "It is almost 11. I did not realize how long we have been sitting here." "Time flies when you are enjoying yourself," I said, and winced at how cheesy it sounded. But she smiled. "Yes, it does." We paid our bills and walked out into the cool night air together. In the parking lot, we stopped beside her car. The spell of the evening seemed to loosen a little, replaced by reality. "This was really nice," she said. Then her face grew serious. "Jerry, I hope you know this was just two friends having dinner. With everything that happened between you and Brenda, I do not want people to get the wrong idea." Her words hit harder than I expected. Something inside me sagged. I forced a smile. "Of course," I said. "Two friends. That is all." She smiled back, but her eyes looked a little sad. We said goodnight. I watched her drive away, her taillights fading into the dark. On the drive home, I could still see her in my head. The way she laughed. The way she listened. The way her eyes softened when she talked about wanting to remember who she was. I told myself to stop thinking about her. I failed. For the next few days, every quiet moment filled with her. I would be in line for coffee and picture her at that table. I would see a woman with silver hair and my heart would jump before my brain caught up. I told myself it was just a harmless crush. A side effect of a lonely guy meeting someone who actually saw him. It should have faded. It did not. A week later, I was at the grocery store, half asleep and trying to decide between two brands of cereal, when I saw her again. Gloria stood in the produce section, examining apples like she was judging them for a contest. Her silver hair shone under the harsh store lights. She looked relaxed, casual, real. My heart started racing. I could have turned around and walked away. Instead, I took a breath and walked toward her. "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal. "Picking out the best apple in Oregon?" She looked up and smiled wide when she saw me. That smile hit me like a wave. "Jerry," she said, "what a nice surprise. How are you?" We talked for a few minutes about nothing. Work, the weather, her sister, my friend Matthew. It all felt light, but under it there was this quiet pull between us, like a current. She mentioned she was cooking dinner for one again. "Ronald is out of town," she said. "So it is just me and these apples tonight." Before I could stop myself, the words jumped out of my mouth. "You know," I said, "I make a pretty good stir-fry. If you ever want company for dinner, I would be happy to cook for you." As soon as I said it, my mind screamed to me, "What are you doing? This is your ex's mother. This is not normal." But Gloria did not pull back. Her cheeks turned a soft pink and she smiled. "That sounds lovely," she said. "I would like that very much." We picked a day, Saturday night, at her house. On Saturday, I drove up into the hills above the city with bags of groceries and a bottle of wine in the passenger seat. My stomach felt like it was full of bees. Her house was a beautiful craftsman with a wide porch and warm lights glowing from the windows. When she opened the door, she was wearing jeans and a soft gray sweater. Her hair was loose. She looked younger, softer, and more relaxed than I had ever seen her. "You really did not have to bring wine," she said, taking the bottle. But I am glad you did. I think we both might need it tonight." We laughed, and just like that, some of the tension broke. We cooked together in her kitchen. We chopped vegetables, bumped into each other every few minutes, and joked about my bad knife skills. Every time her hand brushed my arm, a small spark ran through me. Dinner was easy. The food turned out well. We sat at her small dining table with candles between us. The wine loosened our shoulders and our tongues. It felt cozy, intimate, dangerous. After dinner, we moved to the couch with fresh glasses of wine. Soft jazz played from a speaker. The lights were low. Gloria stared at her glass for a moment before she spoke. "Ronald and I are not really married anymore," she said quietly. "On paper, yes. In reality, no. We have not been happy in years. We live in the same house, but we are strangers most days. We stay together because it is easy, because it is what people expect." She took a breath. I do not even remember the last time he really looked at me. I told her about my fears too, about feeling like I was never enough, about being afraid I would always be the safe, boring option no one chose on purpose. She listened like every word mattered. "Jerry," she said, turning toward me, "you are one of the most genuine men I have ever met. Any woman would be lucky to have you in her life." We were sitting close enough that I could see the tiny gold flecks in her green eyes, close enough to smell her perfume. The air between us felt heavy and alive at the same time. "Gloria," I said quietly. "This is crazy," she whispered, but she did not move away. "I know," I said. My hand shook a little as I reached up and tucked a loose piece of hair behind her ear. "But I have not been able to stop thinking about you since that night at the restaurant." Her eyes searched mine. "Jerry, I am old enough to be your mother." "You are not my mother," I said gently, "and even if you were old enough, I still would not care. Age is just a number. What matters is how we make each other feel." For a long moment, we just looked at each other. The weight of what might happen next sat between us. Then I leaned in and kissed her. The kiss started soft and unsure. Then she kissed me back, her hand coming up to my cheek, and everything inside me lit up. The room, the music, the rest of the world all fell away. When we pulled back, we were both breathing hard. Her cheeks were flushed. Her eyes were bright with fear and something else. Hope. Desire. "This changes everything," she said. "I know," I answered, taking her hand in mine. "Are you okay with that?" She was quiet for a long time. Then she squeezed my hand. "For the first time in years," she said softly, "I think I am ready for something to change." I did not know it yet, but that kiss was the start of a secret love that would turn both our lives upside down in ways we could not even imagine. After that first kiss on Gloria's couch, nothing in my life felt the same. We did not jump into some wild affair right away. It was not like the movies. There was no dramatic music, no clothes flying off in slow motion. Instead, there was a lot of silence. Deep breathing, nervous smiles, long looks where we both tried to understand what we had just done. We spent the rest of that night talking. We talked about Ronald, about how she and he had been living like roommates for years. Separate beds, separate schedules, separate lives. We talked about Brenda, about how she would feel if she ever found out. "We have to be careful," Gloria said, her fingers wrapped around her mug of tea. The wine was gone. The mood was softer now. "I'm still married, and you dated my daughter. This would hurt a lot of people if they knew." "I know," I said, "but I also know I do not want to pretend nothing happened." She looked at me like she was searching for something in my face. "Neither do I," she said quietly. "So we made a choice. We decided to see where this could go, but we would keep it secret. Just for a while. Just until we knew what it really was." Those just for a while weeks turned into months. We became experts at sneaking around like teenagers. If Ronald was out of town, I went to her house. If things were tense at her place, she came to my apartment. She parked a few blocks away so no one would see her car. I joked that we were living in a bad spy movie. She laughed, but there was always a hint of guilt in her eyes. We cooked together a lot. That became our thing. I would chop vegetables while she made jokes about my uneven slices. She would put music on, old jazz or soft rock, and hum along while we moved around each other in the kitchen like we had been doing it for years. We watched movies on my small couch, her feet in my lap, my hand resting lightly on her leg. We talked until 2 in the morning about everything and nothing. We kissed in the doorway when she left, each goodbye feeling harder than the last. The physical side of our relationship grew slowly, naturally. It was never rushed, never forced. There was always this deep care underneath all the heat. I had never been with an older woman before. I did not know what to expect. All I knew was that being with Gloria felt different from any relationship I had ever been in. She was confident. She knew herself. She did not play games. She did not pretend to be okay when she was not. She did not push me away to see if I would chase. If something hurt her, she said it. If she wanted something, she asked for it. At the same time, there was a vulnerability in her that broke my heart. She had spent so many years taking care of everyone else that she had forgotten how to be the one who was cared for. I made it my mission to change that. I brought her flowers for no reason. I left little notes in her purse. I texted her good morning and good night every day. I learned the small things that made her happy, like how she liked her coffee and which side of the bed she preferred. I watched her slowly relax into being loved, really loved. Not for what she did for others, but for who she was. But it was not all perfect. The secrecy wore on us. Gloria struggled with guilt. No matter how distant she and Ronald were, she had still said vows to him once. She had built a life with him. Even though that life was pretty much over, she felt like she was breaking something sacred. I struggled too. I worried what people would think. I could already hear their voices in my head. He is just using her. He is looking for a mother figure. She is having some late midlife crisis. He is a creep for dating his ex-girlfriend's mom. Sometimes those imaginary voices got so loud it was hard to breathe. The only thing that kept us going was how right it felt when we were together. 3 months after that first kiss, Gloria called me one afternoon, sounding shaky and calm at the same time. "I talked to Ronald," she said. My heart jumped. "About us?" "No," she said, "but about everything. I told him I wanted to separate, for real this time, not just in my head." "How did he take it?" Quote, "She was quiet for a few seconds. Better than I expected," she said. "I think he knew this was coming. He said he did not want to live like this anymore either. He did not beg me to stay. He did not fight. That almost hurt more." "Did you tell him why?" I asked. "I told him the truth," she said. "I told him I needed to figure out who I am when I am not trying to be the person everyone else needs me to be. I did not tell him about you. Not yet. I want to do this part for me." "How do you feel?" I asked. She took a deep breath. "Scared," she said, "sad, and strangely hopeful." Those words stayed with me all night. Sad, scared, hopeful. It was a good mix for a new life. With Ronald moving out, something shifted between us. Our time together stopped feeling like stolen moments and started feeling like the beginning of a real relationship. We still kept it quiet, but we talked more about the future now. About what it would look like to be open. About what would happen when people found out. We both knew the hardest part would be telling Brenda. We avoided that topic as long as we could. The universe did not let us avoid it forever. One afternoon, about a month after Gloria and Ronald agreed to separate, Gloria and I met at a little coffee shop across town. It was far from both our neighborhoods. We thought it was safe. We were wrong. The place was almost empty. We sat at a small table near the window, sharing a slice of cake. Gloria laughed at something stupid I said, and I leaned over and brushed a crumb from the corner of her lip. "Careful," I said. "You are too elegant to get frosting on your face." Quote. She rolled her eyes and nudged me with her foot under the table, but her eyes were warm and happy. That was when I heard someone say my name. "Jerry?" I turned and saw my best friend Matthew standing a few feet away holding a to-go cup. His eyes bounced from me to Gloria, to our joined hands on the table. The blood drained from my face. "Hey," I said weakly. He stared at us like we were some kind of strange art piece he could not understand. "What is going on?" he asked slowly. Gloria gently pulled her hand from mine, but I could feel her shaking under the table. "This is Gloria," I said, forcing myself to keep my voice steady. "Gloria, this is Matthew. He has been my best friend since college." "It is nice to meet you, Matthew," Gloria said politely, though I could hear the tension in her voice. Matthew nodded stiffly, his jaw tight. Then he looked at me again. "Can I talk to you outside?" he asked. "Alone?" I looked at Gloria. She gave me a small, brave smile. "It's okay," she said. "I will be right here." Outside, the air felt colder than it should have. Matthew set his coffee down on a metal table and just stared at me for a second, like he was trying to wake himself up. "What the hell are you doing?" he finally asked. I swallowed. "Matthew, that is Brenda's mom," he said, cutting me off. "Brenda, your ex, the woman you dated for 2 years. Do you remember her?" "Yes, I remember," I said, heat rising in my face. "I know who she is." "Do you?" he said. "Because from where I am standing, this looks insane. She is old enough to be your mother, man. What are you thinking?" His words landed on every fear I already had. "This is not some joke," I said. "I am not messing around. I love her." He actually laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No, you do not," he said. "You are on some rebound trip. You are trying to prove something to yourself after what Brenda said. You are trying to get back at her. You are using her mother to do it. That is not love, Jerry. That is messed up." The accusation stung. "Is that really what you think of me?" I asked quietly. "That I would use someone I care about just to get even with my ex?" Quote, "I think you are a good guy making a really bad decision," he said. "This is going to end badly. For you, for her, for everyone. And when it blows up, you will lose all of them." "I know it looks crazy from the outside," I said, "but you do not know what it feels like from the inside. Gloria and I, we fit. I have never felt this kind of connection with anyone before, not even with Brenda." He shook his head. "I cannot support this," he said. "If you want to throw your life away over some fantasy, that is on you, but do not expect me to stand by and cheer." The words hit hard. I felt something inside me crack. "Then maybe you should go," I said softly. He picked up his coffee, looked at me one last time like he did not recognize me, and walked away. I stood there for a moment, trying to breathe past the tightness in my chest. Then I went back inside. Gloria was still at the table, but her hands were wrapped around her cup like she was cold. Her face was pale. "How much did you hear?" I asked, sitting down. "Enough," she said quietly. "Jerry, maybe he is right. Maybe we are making a huge mistake." Fear stabbed me deeper than anything Matthew had said. "Gloria, look at me," I said, reaching for her hands. "Do you love me?" Tears gathered in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "You know I do, but I do not know if that is enough." "It is enough for me," I said. "I do not care what Matthew thinks, or what anyone else thinks. I care about us. I care about the way you make me feel, and the way I make you feel. Are you willing to fight for that?" She stared at me for a long moment. I could see the war in her eyes, fear on one side, love on the other. Then she squeezed my hands. "Yes," she said, her voice steady now. "I am tired of living my life based on what everyone else thinks I should do. I am willing to fight for us." That moment became our new line in the sand. From that day, everything changed. We told her sister first, then my parents. Some people judged us. Some people surprised us with their support. We started going out in public. We stopped hiding as much. But we both knew the real storm was still ahead. Brenda still did not know, and when she found out, our whole world would be on the line. The talk with Matthew shook us both, but it did not break us. Over the next few weeks, we started to live more honestly. Gloria told her sister first. Her sister was shocked, of course, but once she saw how happy Gloria was, she became one of our biggest supporters. She even joked that Gloria finally had a proper romance after all these years. I told my parents next. They were quiet for a while when I said the words. "Mom, Dad, I am dating someone. Her name is Gloria. She is 52. She is my ex-girlfriend's mother." My dad raised his eyebrows. My mom stared at me like she was waiting for a punchline that never came. But when they met Gloria in person, everything changed. They saw the way she treated me, the way I looked at her, and my mom hugged her at the end of the night and said, "As long as you two are good to each other, that is all that matters." Slowly, our life started to look like a real relationship instead of a secret. But the hardest part was still ahead. Brenda did not know. We kept circling the topic and then backing away from it. Every time Gloria thought about telling her, she went pale. She was terrified of losing her daughter. We did not plan how it would happen. Life did that for us. One evening in late January, Gloria's phone rang. I was at her house, helping her clean up after dinner. She looked at the screen and her face went tense. "It is Brenda," she said. She answered. I listened to Gloria's side of the call. I could hear crying on the other end. "What happened, honey?" Gloria asked softly. Her eyes met mine while she listened. She nodded. Her voice stayed gentle. "Of course you can come over. I will be here." "Yes, come now." She hung up and let out a shaky breath. "Her boyfriend broke up with her," she said. "She is on her way. Jerry, I cannot tell her about us tonight. She is already hurt. This will crush her." I thought for a second. "Maybe this is actually the best time," I said. "She is already thinking about love and relationships. Maybe she will understand more than you think." Quote, Gloria shook her head, but she did not ask me to leave. When Brenda arrived, she looked wrecked. Her makeup was smeared, her hair was a mess, and her eyes were red from crying. She dropped onto the couch beside her mother and started talking at high speed. "He said I was too needy," she sobbed. "He said I wanted too much. All I wanted was time with him. I wanted to meet his friends. Is that crazy? Am I crazy?" Gloria held her and stroked her hair and said all the soft, kind things I had heard her say so many times before. She told Brenda she was worthy of love. That she deserved more than a man who treated her like an option. I sat in the armchair across from them and watched. For the first time, I saw Brenda clearly, not as the woman who broke my heart, but as a person who was also trying and failing and hurting. And I realized something important. I did not love her anymore. I cared about her. I wanted her to be okay. But my heart was not with her. It was sitting right next to her on that couch, in the shape of her mother. After a while, Brenda sniffed and wiped her face. She looked around the room like she was finally noticing I was there. "Jerry?" she said, surprised. "What are you doing here?" I took a breath. This was it. I looked at Gloria. She looked at me. Then she reached over and took my hand. "Brenda," she said softly, "there is something I need to tell you." Brenda frowned. "What?" Gloria squeezed my hand. I could feel her shaking. "Jerry and I have been seeing each other," she said. The room went silent. Brenda blinked like she had not heard right. "What do you mean, seeing each other?" she asked slowly. "We are in a relationship," Gloria said, her voice trembling but steady. "We have been together for a few months." Brenda stood up so fast, the couch cushion bounced. Her eyes were wide with shock and then filled with anger. "You are dating my ex-boyfriend," she shouted. "My ex-boyfriend, who came to this house for 2 years. Are you serious? This is sick." "Brenda, please," Gloria said, standing too. "I know this is a lot, but if you would just listen." "Listen to what?" Brenda snapped. "Do you explain how you decided to steal your daughter's leftovers? Do you tell me this is some great love story and I should be happy for you?" Her words hit like punches. I saw Gloria flinch. I stood up. "Brenda, you are being unfair," I said. "This is not about revenge. It is not some joke. Your mom and I did not plan this. We did not expect it. We just fell in love." Brenda turned on me like a storm. "Oh, please," she said. "You are having some weird phase and using my mother to fix whatever is wrong with you. And you," she said, pointing at Gloria, "you are so desperate for attention that you took the first man who made you feel young again." Gloria's face crumpled, tears filling her eyes. I had never seen her look so hurt. "Enough," I said. my voice coming out stronger than I felt. "You can be mad at me, you can hate me if you want, but you do not talk to your mother like that. She has done nothing but love you your whole life. She deserves better than this." Brenda stared at me with fire in her eyes. "You do not get to tell me how to talk to my own mother," she said. "You dated me, Jerry. You slept with me, and now you are with my mom. Do you not see how twisted that is?" Quote, "I see that I love her," I said. "I see that she makes me happy in a way I did not know was possible. And I see that she deserves to be loved like this." Gloria looked at me with such gratitude and love that it made my throat tight. Then she wiped her tears and stood up straighter. "Brenda," she said quietly, "I love you. You are my daughter. Nothing will change that. But I am also a woman, and I am tired of living only for everyone else. For once in my life, I am choosing something for me." "You are choosing him over me," Brenda cried. "I am choosing myself," Gloria said. Her voice shook, but her eyes were clear. "I hope someday you can understand that." Brenda looked between us, hurt and angry and lost. "Fine," she said. "Choose him. But do not call me. Do not text me. Do not talk to me until you end this. I do not want to see either of you." She grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the picture frames rattled. The house went quiet. Gloria sank onto the couch and put her face in her hands. "Oh, God," she whispered. "I have lost my daughter." I sat beside her and pulled her into my arms. "You have not lost her," I said, even though my own heart ached. "She is hurt and angry, but she loves you. Give her time." "What if she never forgives me?" Gloria asked, looking up at me with red eyes. "What if I have to choose between you and her?" The right answer, the good answer, would have been simple. Tell her to pick her daughter. Tell her you will step aside. But nothing about this was simple. "I hope you never have to make that choice," I said slowly. "But if you do, I want you to choose what makes you truly happy in the long run. I love you enough to want that, even if it hurts me." She broke then, really cried, and I held her until she had no tears left. The next few months were hard. Brenda kept her word. No calls, no texts. Gloria checked her phone every day anyway. Sometimes she would look at me, and I could see the question in her eyes. Is this worth it? I tried not to pressure her. I showed up. I listened. I reminded her that her happiness mattered too. People talked, of course. Some of Gloria's friends judged her. Some of my coworkers whispered. We learned to live with the stares when we went out together. But there were good things too. Her sister stood by us. My parents welcomed Gloria like family. Ronald, when he finally found out, surprised us both. "I cannot say I understand it," he said to Gloria one day when they met to sign the divorce papers, "but I can see you are happy. And I have not seen that in a long time. So I am glad you found something that works." 3 months after Brenda walked out, Gloria got a text from her. "Can we talk?" They met for coffee. Then again. It was not easy. There were tears and raised voices and long pauses. But slowly, Brenda began to see that this was not a game, that this was not about her, that her mother was not trying to hurt her, she was just trying to live. Brenda never became our biggest fan, but she reached a place where she could sit at the same table with us and not explode. That was enough. Gloria and I kept growing together. After 6 months, we moved in together. We built a home that felt like both of us. Her taste and mine mixed in one space. Her art on the walls, my books on the shelves. Our coffee mugs in the same cabinet. She started the pottery class she had once talked about in that kitchen years ago. I kept writing my novel. She pushed me to share my pages. I pushed her to sell some of her pieces. A year after that first night at the restaurant, her divorce from Ronald was final. 2 years after that dinner, I took her back to the same place. Same corner table. Same soft light. We ate, we talked, we laughed. At the end of the meal, I took a deep breath, stood up, and moved to her side of the table. My hands were shaking as I got down on one knee. "Gloria," I said, my voice rough, "the night I walked across this room to sit with you, I did something everyone would have called unthinkable. but it turned out to be the best decision of my life. You are my best friend, my partner, my home. Will you marry me?" Her eyes filled with tears. She covered her mouth with her hand, then nodded. "Yes," she whispered, 1,000 times yes. Our wedding was small, simple, full of people who truly cared about us. Brenda came. She did not cry, but at the end of the night she hugged her mother and said, "I still think you are crazy, but you look happy, so I am trying." Matthew came too. He pulled me aside and said, "I was wrong. I am sorry. You two are the real thing." Now, it has been 3 years since I first saw Gloria alone at that table. We are still here. People still stare sometimes when they see us together in public. They still try to guess our story. Some think I am her son. Some think I am some kind of gold digger. They see the age gap and make their own movie in their heads. They do not know that we fall asleep talking and wake up laughing. They do not know that she keeps my first draft pages in a box under the bed. They do not know that I still bring her flowers on random Tuesdays, or that she leaves sweet notes on my coffee mug when I have a long day coming. They do not know that she is my favorite person in the world. Gloria has bloomed in ways that make my chest hurt with pride. She sells her pottery now. She has traveled to places she only dreamed about before. She says no when she needs to and does not feel guilty about it. She smiles more. She worries less. I have changed too. I am braver, softer, more sure of myself. She has taught me that love is not about drama and chaos. It is about being seen, being safe, and still feeling that spark. If you are watching this and you think you are too old for love, or too young, or too damaged, or too boring, hear me when I say this. Love does not care about age. It does not care about rules or timelines. It shows up when it wants, in the body it wants, in the place it wants. The only thing that matters is if you are brave enough to say yes. Sometimes the most unthinkable move you can make is the one that saves your life. If you believe in second chances, in love that does not fit the rules, in stories that do not make sense on paper but make perfect sense in your heart, hit like and subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments about your own unexpected love, or the moment you chose courage over fear. Gloria and I are proof that love can find you at any age, in any place, and in the most surprising way. Our story started when I did the unthinkable and sat down at my ex's mother's table. The rest of our life began when we were brave enough to stay.